morning, everybody. I know in my last video, I promised that I'll dive a little deep into atomic habits and how it can make your living more intentional. So I thought the best way for me to explain the influential book that is written by James Clear, he talks about how small steps, like tiny habits, truly make a bigger transformational change in our lives. It's very important to understand it's the small steps that make the big impact. It's like this metaphor small drops of water make an ocean. So, we are going to focus on those tiny, tiny drops first because if you try to make an ocean from the get go, then in my words, I would say you're setting yourself up for failure. If you can do that, more power to you. But just going by what we know, facts across the world, more people are able to make transformational changes by taking small, tiny steps every day because it's more practical, it's more doable, and it's more achievable. So that's what James Clear stresses in his book, Atomic Habits. So the way I like to explain things, being the trainer that I've been in the past, is with an example. So instead of just making it a theory session, I thought I'll integrate it with an example and then explain how you could implement his teachings from the book. So let's start with one common habit that people try to change, including me, is becoming the 5 a.m. club member, right? So people talk about the benefits of waking up early, and a lot of people try to do it, but it is hard. And I can tell you just based on my personal experience, because I am a night owl, we can talk about the different kind of personalities people have. I'm a night owl, so maybe in my next session, I'll talk about different type of people so you understand yourself better and make corrective necessary changes based on your personality type. I'm a night owl. I get energetic later in the day, and that's why maybe I'm not a morning person, but I've stopped telling myself that, and I've been doing so much better with my morning routine, which I've already shared in my previous video, like waking up to do yoga, etc. So talking about James Clear, there are certain things that he talks about which I'm going to explain to you, and some of it is already on the board. So the first thing that he talks and stresses about is you start gradually. These are the tiny steps that I mentioned just now. So let's say you want to wake up at 5. I used to wake up at 7:30 a.m. in the morning, or whenever my husband would wake me up with a cup of coffee, he was my human alarm clock. For me, starting gradually meant if I'm waking up at 7:30, maybe I want to wake up 15 minutes earlier this week, so make it 7:15. So if my alarm was my husband, now I put an alarm on my phone instead of 7:30, it's 7:15. And that shift was not difficult at all, even though I live in Michigan, which is cold and gloomy right now. It kind of makes you want to just cuddle up in a blanket. But that shift was not difficult at all. I was easily able to implement it and become regular with it. So start gradually. So today, if you wake up at 6:30, 7, whatever time it might be for you, try to push that time forward by 15 minutes, maybe every week, and then another 15 minutes the next week. So you'll see in about 2.5, 3 months' time, you will reach that 5 a.m. mark, and then it won't feel like such a big mountain that you've climbed, and you will get used to it. So it's very important to start gradually. The second thing that he talks about is so we are talking about the 5 a.m. habit. Keeping that as an example, you want to wake up early, so the previous night's routine will come into play a lot. So you need to make sure you create a bedtime routine, a calming bedtime routine more specifically. So you maybe dim your lights, you don't watch anything on your phone or TV because they say blue screen has an impact on your ability to fall off to sleep. You want to make sure you're not watching anything. Maybe you read a book, you put some calming music, you want to meditate, or you just want to, do a reflective exercise, journal, whatever works for you. If it's taking a warm bath in the evening, you have to figure that out and then create a calming bedtime routine. What's also important is not having too much light around you. This is something I learned from a masterclass that I attended by Michael Walker. Michael Walker talks about the science of sleep. He says cave-like lighting is very important for deep sleep. And I know sometimes it may not be something that you can do, like if your partner or somebody in your household likes to watch TV while you're trying to sleep, then how do you work around it, right? So we can only change ourselves. You can try talking to whoever that person is to see if they'll switch off the TV. But if that's not a possibility, what can you do? So, for example, I wear an eye mask now to make sure I have cave-like lighting. And I'm so used to it already because I enjoy the sleep, of course, that I've started carrying it even if I'm going for a one night trip for work or for personal things. But I've started just unconsciously packing it. And I never used to do that. And I can actually show you. It's right here by my bedside. So this is the eye mask that I have, and I use it religiously, and it just is improving the quality of my sleep, because it's also important that your quality of sleep is crucial. So let's now understand the next thing, which is something that James Clear's book specifically talks about, which is the habit loop. So once you have a good bedtime routine, now you want to understand the habit loop. So the first thing in the habit loop is the cue. So what is your cue to wake up at 5 a.m.? When you see the clock strikes 5 a.m., that's your cue to wake up, right? Simple as that. Like when you see the yoga mat, you want to start exercising. So similarly, when you see 5 a.m., you want to wake up. That's your cue. Now, what's your craving? Why do you want to wake up at 5? It could be because you want some alone time. It could be because you want to finish everything before the others wake up, to have a quiet morning and truly get a head start compared to most of the people in the world. So that's the craving that you're going for. So that should be your motivational factor of waking up and making it happen every day. The second thing was craving. Now, the third thing is response. So, what is the response? Your response is get out of bed. So you set an alarm. Your response in terms of your body is you get out of bed. That's as simple as that. Don't have to complicate it. Just stick to these cues. And then your reward. So you have woken up at 5 o'clock, or, if you're working backwards 15 minutes each week, then you've woken up at whatever time you set your alarm and you've done your morning routine, and now reward yourself. And that reward could be your favorite breakfast. It could be anything that you want to feel like, yes, I achieved it and I did it. That is important because rewards are what motivates us, and it will put this information in your mind that, hey, if I do this, then I get to eat my favorite breakfast. And of course, if you don't do this, then don't eat your favorite breakfast, because then you're confusing your mind. So make sure you follow these habit loops. And then outside of this, the other things with regards to specifically changing this habit is, of course, your location matters, right? So your environment influences your effort in changing a habit. So what do I mean by that? Again, coming back to the 5 a.m. wake up example as in terms of changing a habit. So how can location matter in this sense? So we have a habit of snoozing, right? So put your phone far away in the room, in the other corner of the room, so that you can still hear the alarm when it goes off in the morning, but you necessarily don't snooze it. So location matters. So keep it far away so that when the alarm goes off, you have to wake up, get out of bed, walk a decent amount of few feet to go ahead and switch off the alarm. Another important thing would be tiny things that you can do. Set a very soothing alarm tone so that you don't wake up alarmed or the jarring, blaring music. You want to wake up with something that's soothing and eases you into your day. So that's very important. And then make sure you make your mornings purposeful. You're taking the effort into waking up early. So do something that's meaningful. Read a few pages of a book. They say learning in the early hours is truly impactful, and you can learn a lot more. So maybe you do that. Maybe you meditate in those quiet morning times. I have to do yoga, so do some exercise, some stretching, go for a walk, and set your daily intentions. Like, this is how I want my day to be today. These are the things that I want to do. So plan your day and just purposefully craft your day, each day, because every day, there will be different things that you want to accomplish and do. And you have to make sure you understand what all you want to accomplish that day. So as you keep doing this regularly, you'll start feeling more confident as a result of all this. You'll be happier that you're able to make the necessary changes, and confident because you are now able to achieve a lot more. You set a goal, you're able to meet it. So now you're ready for the next goal. That is how our brain works. And this constant loop of rewards will make sure that you are self motivated and you'll become consistent. So consistency is key, and stick to your wake up time, even on weekends. A lot of times, and Michael Walker in his The Science of Sleep talks about the debt of sleeping, right? And we stressed upon it a little bit in one of my previous videos, but again, I want to talk about it. So Monday to Friday, let's say you have a great routine and you do it all, but as Friday night comes, you start sleeping late and then you wake up late and then you think you can catch up on all that lost sleep, but it does not work like that. The more consistent you can be, even on weekends or when you're on vacation, it's only going to serve you more. So you choose your battles and go for it with a warrior attitude and come out a winner. And leave me any comments, questions that you might have. If you want to understand how atomic habits could be implemented with regards to a different habit and not waking up at 5 a.m., I'm happy as a certified coach now to help you craft a goal that will allow you to reach those goals of yours. So thank you for listening in, and I hope you enjoyed it and learned something from it.